diligently implemented the key recommendations that emerged from the national dialogue. These include: one, the establishment of a permanent commission for peace and national cohesion; two, a resolute commitment to strengthening democracy and governance institutions, such as the Political Parties Regulation Commission, and deepening decentralization; and three, the enactment of legislation that fervently upholds the rights of women while intensifying our unwavering battle against sexual and gender-based violence. These endeavors constitute just a few examples of the comprehensive approach we have taken to bring about positive change, guided by the thoughtful recommendations put forth during Bintu Mani 3, and serve as a testament to our steadfast dedication to national progress, peace, and unity. Every citizen has the right to express their will through the power of the ballot box. Our duty and unyielding resolve are to conduct the upcoming elections in an environment of freedom, fairness, and credibility. We are committed to ensuring that every citizen can exercise their democratic rights with confidence, secure in the knowledge that their voice will be heard and their choice will be respected. These have informed my government's approach to elections and electoral reforms throughout these 5 years. In March 2022, under the relevant provisions of the Public Elections Act 2012, I announced the date for the parliamentary and local council elections, while the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone announced the date for the presidential election. The announcement of elections more than a year in advance marked a historical departure from the past practice that often created constitutional breaches. Additionally, my government established a national multi-stakeholder steering committee on the 2023 electoral cycle to coordinate electoral financing and address emerging issues, including electoral security and justice. This committee is jointly chaired by my government's Chief Minister and the United Nations Resident Coordinator. It includes all development partners and electoral management bodies, EMBs, supporting the electoral process, notably the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, PPRC, and civil society organizations. Since its inception, the Multi-Stakeholder Steering Committee has convened 9 times and has addressed all emerging issues in a collegial atmosphere. Unlike previous governments, our government has introduced forward-looking reforms in the electoral process by seriously and closely reviewing reports by several elections observer missions to our nation over the years, including the Commonwealth, ECOWAS, African Union Commission, and the European Union, and we have systematically implemented the key recommendations. For instance, in 2012, the European Union made over 100 recommendations to improve the conduct of our democratic elections. The previous All People's Congress government ignored all those recommendations. The EU mission made additional recommendations following the conduct of the 2018 elections. Since assuming office, I have directed that the recommendations be considered and practical action taken for their rollout and implementation. To demonstrate our commitment to electoral transparency and to consolidate our democratic gains, more than 70 of the recommendations by the European Union have been implemented. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, it is worth noting that my government has undertaken the major part of financing the 2023 electoral cycle from resources in the Consolidated Revenue Fund. In support of my proactive stance and commitment, our development partners have contributed some funds, with a huge proportion going to national and international CSOs working in the 2023 electoral cycle. This is the first time in our country's recent history for any government to provide the largest share in supporting the conduct of general elections and to undertake all critical expenditure on election financing. My administration has subjected crucial decisions regarding the elections to the impartial scrutiny of our esteemed judiciary, including the legitimacy of the proportional representation system. The Supreme Court of Sierra Leone, in a display of transparency and accountability, delivered its judgment in an open court proceeding, disseminated across all media platforms. We firmly believe that matters about electoral justice should be entrusted to our competent courts within Sierra Leone in strict accordance with the provisions enshrined in our national constitution. Our dynamic security forces have comprehensively addressed all aspects concerning the security surrounding these elections, with utmost transparency and public involvement. Through a series of stakeholder engagements and dialogues, the security agencies have meticulously negotiated and finalized all security matters and protocols. Stakeholders such as EMBs, CSOs, journalists, international partners, and observers have been thoroughly briefed on all security arrangements and agreements about these elections. The security agencies have consistently emphasized the importance of adherence to these measures. Our esteemed development partners, election observers, and countless well-wishers of Sierra Leone share our unwavering objective and vision to conduct elections that are peaceful, inclusive, free, fair, transparent, and credible, fully reflecting the genuine will of our people. While we have taken proactive measures to foster an environment of inclusivity and equal participation by encouraging open dialogue and constructive engagement, it is imperative to underscore that our government will not waver in fulfilling its duty to decisively address any instance of violence, incitement, or disruption to the hard-earned peace that prevails in our country. Sierra Leone is a sovereign state governed by laws and principles, and we shall not tolerate any threat to our beloved country's peace, tranquility, and security. To those who seek to undermine our cherished democracy, let me remind you that this democracy is etched with the indelible blood of patriots who fought alongside me to protect our fellow citizens and this great nation. Many have sacrificed their lives or bear the scars of those battles. Millions of Sierra Leoneans, in unison and driven by an unwavering determination, stood with me in pursuit of peace when I initiated the peace process with the leadership of the Revolutionary United Front, REF, successfully conducted our nation's first democratic election after enduring a generation of repressive and autocratic APC rule, and peacefully transferred power to an elected government. Since then, we have toiled tirelessly to consolidate our democracy, institute reforms that enhance the well-being of our nation, establish a stable and harmonious Sierra Leone, divisive rhetoric and vehement hate speech, along with the threats of violence directed at the police, electoral commissioners, the justice sector, and political opponents, do not augur well for peace, election, and must be unequivocally condemned by all well-intentioned Sierra Leoneans, international partners, and other custodians of moral rectitude. Let me reiterate in no uncertain terms that the multi-party elections will proceed as scheduled on June 24th, 2023. There shall be no postponement or cancellation. We must also wholeheartedly accept the people's verdict to whom our Constitution confers sovereignty. The forthcoming elections shall serve as a litmus test for our democratic values and unwavering commitment to progress. Let us seize this opportunity to fortify our democracy, safeguard our institutions, and forge a stronger Sierra Leone that embraces the aspiration of incitement to violence, tribal bigotry, regionalism, and any other action that jeopardize the peace, unity, and stability of our nation. I also call upon individuals of prominence and conscience to publicly distance themselves from those who seek to drag our nation back into the dark abyss of crisis and insecurity. On May 25, 2023, all presidential candidates and political party leaders solemnly affixed their signatures to the National Election Peace Pledge. I publicly call upon my esteemed brother and compatriot, Dr. Samora Matthew Wilson Kamara of the APC party, to remain wholeheartedly committed, just as my party, SLPP, and I are, to uphold that pledge's spirit. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, from every corner of our great nation, your voice as citizens reverberate. And the choice before us is clear. Hope over fear, love over hate, peace over violence, and decency over vitriol. As devoted citizens, let us remain resolute in leaving behind the tragic and violent past that plagued our beloved nation. Let us forge ahead with our peaceful and democratic national development agenda, ensuring a brighter future for both the present and future generations. We find ourselves amidst an alarming surge in propagation of fake news, propaganda, and alternative facts, a phenomenon amplified through the reckless exploitation of social media. These tools are immensely capable of shaping public opinion and occasionally influencing political outcomes. Yet, regrettably, they have transformed into breeding grounds for misinformation and the dissemination of falsehoods, particularly during electoral seasons. The very essence of our democratic process is jeopardized when false information spreads at an alarming rate across social media platforms. Such distortions of truth have the power to manipulate public sentiment and undermine the foundation upon which our democracy stands. Therefore, it falls upon each of us to collectively endeavor to harness the potential of social media as a conduit for truth and transparency throughout these crucial elections. Let us fully comprehend the magnitude of our influence when sharing information online and wield this power judiciously. Especially during these sensitive times, we must not allow ourselves to be used as agents of discord or unwittingly become instruments of violence by those who seek to exploit our differences or revert to the dark days of violence. Before succumbing to the allure of that retweet button or the impulse to share a post, photo, or video, let us pause and reflect. Do we truly know the verifiable source of the information? Is this source reputable? Is the information deliberately engineered to provoke outrage? If so, my dear fellow citizens, I implore you not to perpetrate the distribution of such content. Fellow citizens, the responsibility to safeguard the integrity of our democracy and preserve the cherished peace and harmony we hold dear rest upon each and every one of us. Together, we have the power to exemplify the true strength of our democracy, thus ensuring a brighter future for ourselves and the generations that will follow. May our nation continue to flourish as a beacon of freedom, justice, and democracy. As we approach the polls on Saturday, let us remember that our diversity is the wellspring of our strength. Through the collective power of our voices, we possess the capacity to shape the future of our nation. Your vote is not only your voice, but also how we elect a president who embodies your aspirations. A parliament that embraces progressive ideals, local councils that attentively listen to your concerns and cater to the unique needs of your local communities. As I end, let me leave you with a public education message from the Electoral Commission on SAFU 2023 elections. And I quote, "Vote SAFU. Go home SAFU. Wait for the result SAFU. Celebrate if you win SAFU. And if you lost, sit down SAFU. Make we all join hands for build the country SAFU. In the realm where democracy thrives, we all flourish. United in the boundless prosperity it bestows upon us. Conversely, where violence finds fertile ground, its pernicious consequences permeate our collective existence, sparing none from its bitter aftermath. In this pivotal moment, as we stand on the cusp of the forthcoming elections, let us rally together, bound by an unyielding determination to safeguard the hallowed principles enshrined in our Constitution and the essence of our democratic ethos. Again, I emphasize, let it be known that we shall firmly reject any temptation to circumvent the sacred mantle of the rule of law. For it is our solemn duty to rise unwaveringly in defense of democracy's noble ideals. As proud citizens of this great nation, we collectively anticipate the advent of an all-inclusive, liberating, crystal clear, and serenely conducted electoral process that shall grace our land on Saturday, June 24th, 2023. Together, let us forge ahead with unwavering resolve, for it is through the triumph of democracy that we shall secure a brighter future for generations to come. God bless Sierra Leone, and may God bless us all.
When the Ebola struck our country in 2014, the global economy was growing by 3.0%. Sierra Leone received the highest amount of donor funds since the war ended in 2002. Yet, the APC recklessly managed the economy of the state and declared austerity. President Bio took over a country that was unstable and under very difficult circumstances. Yet, he achieved so much. President Bio has done exceptionally well in the areas of education, healthcare, economy, energy, infrastructure, food security, youth empowerment, and more. President Bio believes the human resource capital is the most precious gift we have as a nation. He increased education budget from under 15% to 22%. He constructed 1,000 new classrooms. He supplied more than 10 million new books to learners across the country. He distributed 50 brand new buses for transporting students, made school feeding program available to over 600,000 pupils, provided free education for all girls studying science, technology, engineering, and math disciplines, so we can have more female engineers, doctors, scientists, and innovators. Sierra Leone now has the highest rate of girls completing primary education in West Africa. Health is also a very important aspect of President Bio's human capital development. President Bio increased our health budget from 6% in 2018 to 11.6% in 2021. Launched the Hospital on Wheels that has treated over 30,000 patients in 12 districts. Because of the efficient health policies adopted by this government, our health system has seen a massive improvement. Our life expectancy has increased from 53 in 2018 to 61 in 2022. The maternal mortality rate in Sierra Leone has reduced by 60%. Development in every country is being accelerated by reliable and sustainable energy supply, and President Bio understands the assignment very well. This government has increased access to electricity from 13% to 38% in just 5 years. This government has installed electricity supply in over 100 new communities. President Bio has constructed more roads and bridges in 5 years than any other president in our nation's history. President Bio constructed the ultra-modern Freetown International Airport and other numerous key infrastructures nationwide. President Bio repealed the seditious criminal libel law, removed the draconian death penalty, passed the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Bill that gives women 30% representation in elected and appointed positions. And President Bio also empowered his wife, Her Excellency Dr. Fatima Bio, to introduce a draft resolution that placed November 18 as World Day for the prevention of and healing from child exploitation, abuse, and violence at the UN General Assembly. According to the MCC report, Sierra Leone scores a staggering 92% in both political rights and civil liberties, and 90% in freedom of information. Because of the confidence and trust the international community has on President Bio, remember in 2018, before the elections were held under the APC government, IMF suspended the economic credit facility arrangements. Now, under President Bio, only 2 weeks to elections, the IMF has extended the economic credit facility and approved $20.7 million United States dollars for Sierra Leone. Every well-meaning Sierra Leonean should be proud of President Bio by voting him for another 5 years to continue consolidating the gains and accelerating socioeconomic transformation with the Big Five game changers: feed salon, human capital development, youth employment, revamping the public service, architecture, technology, and agriculture. For better Sierra Leone, vote President Bio. 5 more years. What will be the prices of commodities in Sierra Leone if the APC was in power? The most accurate answer to this question is by comparing the inflation rate of developed countries that are major driving forces of the global economy to that of Sierra Leone, which is a donor-driven country. The table shows the global inflation rate for developed countries to that of Sierra Leone from 2015 to 2022. It is observed that during the APC era of 2015 to 2022, due to poor fiscal policies and corruption, our economy had a cumulative inflation rate of 62.4%, while the cumulative inflation rate of developed countries was only 4.7%. This means the global economy was flourishing with an inflation rate averaging only 1% per year. Imagine the APC stayed in power until 2022, at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic sent shockwaves through the global economy and triggered the largest global economic crisis in more than a century. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, estimated that the median global gross domestic product dropped by 3.9% from 2019 to 2020, making it the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression ended in 1939. Despite all of these global setbacks and taking over a country that was in austerity, President Bio implemented prudent financial reforms that have been efficient in the effective management of state resources. The SLPP successfully managed the cumulative inflation rate in Sierra Leone from 2019 to 2022 to only 79.4% against 13.2% cumulative inflation rate for developed nations. Using mathematical logic, we can determine the inflation rate in Sierra Leone from 2019 to 2022 if the APC was in power by placing a variable X and cross-multiply with the inflation rate of developed countries. After cross-multiplication, our inflation rates will have stood at 175% if APC was in power, which is almost twice higher than the current inflation rate, which means the prices of commodities will have doubled. Therefore, the SLP government of President Bio is far better at the management of the economy and therefore deserves an undeniable second term.
If President Bio will give free quality education, feed salon, also possible for President Bio. and as he don promise am, he go do am. If President Bio able for make sure say he cut down corruption and will score 89% up to 90-something%, we win and get a very good prize na the MCC scorecard. President Bio go able for provide the 500,000 jobs wey he promise youth man dem. This na a trusted process. This na a trusted leader wey get integrity, efficient and very proactive. He know how to manage the economy of this country. He want for make sure say sustainable development continue na this part of the country, and make sure say when he left power, we go dey for take over am and make sure say the country continue for improve.
As we plan for re-elect President Julius Maada Bio and Honorable Vice President Mohammed Julde Jallow, the ECSL Sierra Leone don pull a sample of how the ballot paper get for look like. It get for be very easy for see President Bio and vote for him so that it go continue the good work for Salone. Look na the ballot paper and watch for the party where they second, where they number 2. Put your finger na the ink and rub am safu na the number 2 party wey na SLPP. Other way dey for vote with pen, because not everybody can want use ink for do the ballot. If you dey use the pen, you get for understand one thing, say you know for write your name per the ballot paper, because if you write your name, you don't void that vote. Use the pen, come safu. Watch na the number 2 party wey na SLPP. Tick am safu. Make sure say the tick for just dey within that box dey, no rubber other side. If you do that one day, also na void. This message come off from Julius Magona, the CEO of SL News Blog. For enhanced food security in a Salone, make we re-elect President Julius Maada Bio.
We say victory, SLPP, now the only way out.
Ending deputy, secretary general, ending deputy, with the chief whip, financial secretary, Papa insists the law, side and come out, oh what a problem, oh what a shame,
we do this and me not understand, fumble them, make we land, inshallah we don't watch hand, this time around don't know them plan,
then say no,
Gambia they come,
then say no,
but they come,
then say no,
we are bad.